Hello. Alright, hello everyone and welcome. It's time for SRL and it's season 5. It's the beginning of a new season, and for the season opener, as always, we are racing at Bahrain. So obviously it's a new season, season 5. This league's been running for quite a while now, and we'll see a couple of drivers from last season are racing this season. People like Chris and Game Freaks and King David, Sean, Oscar, Collie, Dion Obrecht, Sui, Lem, Mir, and Zarek. So basically, everyone in this lobby. Sadly, there's only 11 people because the attendance was a little low for this particular race. I guess people don't really like Bahrain too much, but we only have 11 drivers in this race, so most drivers will be getting points so long as they finish the race. But yeah, everyone in this lobby is from last season. I'm not sure if there's any new drivers that will be racing this season. I'm going to quickly check the driver lineup to actually check if there is going to be any new drivers racing with us this season. So for Mercedes, we have Prastry Ridgels, a man who was challenging for the championship in the early stages of seasons. He is in the early stage of last season. He's racing for Mercedes alongside Chaos Druid, Tulip, and it looks like a new driver is actually racing for Red Bull. Isle Spooky on, I think his name is. I'm not really sure, but that he is a new driver and he's going to be racing for Red Bull. And it doesn't actually look like there's going to be any other new drivers. One new driver as well, Bacon Bun. So there's going to be 2 new drivers this season. They sadly couldn't make it to this race, but we do have 20 full-time drivers, so at least we have enough full-time drivers, but obviously only 11 of them could make it to this race. But I still think it's going to be a good race because a lot of the fast guys are in here, like Game Freaks, King David, Chris, Sui, and Lem. So it'll be interesting to see how this race plays out, because last season this was an absolutely amazing race in the first round, with the top 4 all battling it out for the win. I think it was Prastry, King David, Game Freaks, and Dry all challenging for the win, and that was a great race. We'll have to see if this race plays out the same way. Right now we're riding on board with Oscar, who is going to be the first man to set a lap time. So he's gonna be the pace setter for the rest of the grid, and as you can see, a lot of people actually going out on medium compound tires to see what kind of time they can set on those tires, and if they set a time that's good enough, they might consider staying with that time and starting the race on the mediums. But we'll have to see, as Oscar coming into the 3rd sector now, and we're going to focus a bit more on Oscar's actual lap here. He sets a purple sector 2 because he's the first person to set a sector 2. He goes a bit wide there off of the exit of the second last corner, and that is actually going to invalidate his lap times. It actually looks like one of the drivers behind him, I think that's Lem, he's actually gone wide at that long right-hander coming into the 3rd sector. He's invalidated his lap time, and he looks like he's going to have to either come into the pit lane for a fresh set of tires, or is he going to go again? But let's see who else is on a lap. It looks like Sweeros is actually on a lap, so he's on the medium compound tires, and let's see what kind of time he can do. But he actually spins at the exact same place as Lem, as it looks like he can't go flat out there. It doesn't look like he actually touched the curb, which definitely would have spun him, but it looks like he just can't go flat out with the mediums. I remember, as I've raced this track, you can go flat out with the softs, but apparently it's not the same with the mediums. So it looks like Lem and Sui have both spun at that part of the track. It looks like Dion Obrecht is the first man to set a lap. He sets a 27.4, but that's almost instantly beaten by Collie, who sets a 126.9, and that is a fairly decent banker time for Collie. As it actually looks like Chris sets lap 2, that's a 127.5, which is quite fast on medium compound tires, but the difference between the softs and the mediums is quite big. So I think that's definitely just going to be a banker time, and he's most likely going to go on the soft tires at a later stage in the session to try and set a better time to put himself in a better position in this qualifying session. Game Freaks, looks like Game Freaks is on a lap, and let's see what he can do on this lap on the medium compound of tyres. And I guess the time to be on these mediums, as he actually has a purple sector 1 there, the time to be on these mediums is a 27.5 set by Chris, and if he can go faster by that, then he will be in the best position out of all the medium runners so far. But it actually looks like the only 3 people that are going to set a lap time on mediums are Chris, King David, and Game Freak, because he actually goes, gets a bit of wheel spin off of the exit of that corner there, but he's still doing fine on his lap. Thankfully, did not spin because of that. And coming into the third sector now, is he going to spin at this corner? He goes flat out through there, and he manages not to spin, so maybe Sweet Ross and Lem touch the curb, even though I didn't see Sweet Ross touch the curb, so yeah, I might have just missed that. But Game Freaks takes that corner flat out nice and easily, coming into this last turn, and off the exit of the last turn, what kind of time is going to be with the DRS wide open? It's going to be a 1:27.5, so his pace is very, very similar to Chris ahead of him. The gap is just 5/100ths between the two drivers and the two championship contenders last season. But yeah, so it looks like they both have pretty similar pace on the medium compound tires. Zarek set a time of a 1:29 flat, so that there must have been a mistake in his lap at some point, because that is a lot slower than everyone else on the grid. King David in that second McLaren, Game Freaks and King David in the same team. I think that's definitely going to be a very strong lineup. He's set to 1:27.8 on the medium compound tires, just 3/10 off of Game Freaks and Chris. So again, a decent time from King David. But let's see who's out on the lap on the soft compound tires. It actually looks like Lem is on the lap on the soft tires, and is he going to get a purple sector 1 as he comes through turn 4, and that's going to end off sector 1 for him. And as he comes across the sector 1 line, he actually does set a purple sector 1, so he's going quite fast on the soft compound tires, coming into turn 8 hairpin, and gets a pretty decent exit off there, using 4th gear on the exit, so being very careful with the wheel spin. And coming into turn 9, I think this is, and the long DRS straight right after, and it looked like a pretty decent exit out of there, so this isn't looking like too shabby of a lap from Lem, who showed a lot of pace last season. Even though he was just a reserve, he really showed what he was made of in Australia, I think the race was. So coming out of the second sector, he sets another purple sector, so he's going quite fast at this stage of the qualifying session. But coming out that long right-hander, he actually had to do a little lift on the exit there, so that's going to lose him a little bit of time on the exit of the final corner. The DRS wide open across the line. What kind of time is it going to be? It's going to be a 1:26.9, which puts him 5/100ths off of Collie, so that's a pretty decent lap time from him, and that's going to give him a provisional front row. But let's see who else is on the lap. It actually looks like Sweeros is on a lap. He's in the second sector, and coming into turn 8 hairpin. What kind of hairpin can he get? Can he get a good turn and a good exit? And it looks like a pretty decent exit. Used a bit of your exit curb there, and usually that exit curb tends to lose you a little bit of time because it's so bumpy, and the wheels just can't grip up on it. So maybe a little bit of time lost in the second sector there. And up the hill now, what kind of turns can he get through here? And pretty decent into turn 10, I think this was, and now this is turn 11 and turn 12, but I'm really not sure if there's 14 turns at this track. But out of the second sector, he doesn't set a purple sector 2, so he's not going faster than Collie and Lemkis, but he's still going decently fast. And out of the last turn, he's going to get a little bit of slipstream from Collie, I think that is, and that's going to give him a tiny bit of time, and he sets a 1:27 flat. So once again, a decent time that puts him P3 in the session. As we were riding on board with him, Oscar actually set a 1:27.3, which puts him P4 in the session. And Chris is now out on a lap, and we can expect big things from him. He's 4/10 up on his time, and if he keeps improving like this, he's going to be looking good for a provisional pole position. out of turn 8. He's another man who used 4th gear out of there, so it looks like Lem and Chris being very passive, I guess is the right word, with the wheel spin, making sure they don't get any wheel spin out of these turns so they can maximize their exits. And coming into, I've already forgotten the turns, I think that was turn 10, now turn 11 and 12, and it looks like he sets a purple sector 2. He's 1 second up on his time. He's looking good for 26.5, which would be pretty decent, but actually pretty good in this session compared to everyone else's times. So coming out of the final corner, he actually misses the apex there, but on the exit he opens the DRS, and across the line is going to be a 126.4, which gives him provisional pole position by 5/10 over Collie, who's actually decided to go out on the medium compound tires to see what kind of time he could set. But he actually invalidated his lap at some stage, and he's going to pull into the pit lane and probably put on some softs and go for one last lap in this session, because that's all there's really time for. And let's try finding someone else who's on a lap. It looks like Near might actually be on a lap here, so let's see as he comes into, actually no, it does not look like he's on a lap there, as he does not push at all into that turn. I think he's just set a lap, and that was a 27.6, which put him P8. It looks like Game Freaks is actually on a lap himself. This is his first lap on soft compound tires coming into turn 4. Or is this... Oh, I'm getting really confused with the turn numbers. I think that's turn 4. This is turn 5 up ahead. He actually sets a purple sector 1. That's pretty decent from him. Could he be challenging for pole position along with Chris? And he actually uses 2nd gear out of turn 8. So I think he might be playing with medium traction control or something, as you can see. Yeah, he's definitely playing with medium traction control, because he absolutely slammed the accelerator coming out of turn 9 in 2nd gear with no wheel spin whatsoever. So Game Freaks is definitely a very fast driver for using medium traction control, as usually medium traction control loses you quite a bit of time compared to no traction control at all. So it looks like he's making it work, and I think he plays on controller, so it's a bit more difficult to actually deal with the traction with a stick, or not with the stick, with the trigger instead of a pedal. But as you can see across the line, he's at a 126.2, and that's not even going to be his last lap. So that's a very fast time from Game Freaks. 126.2 is something he'll definitely be happy with, and that actually puts him 2/10 ahead of Chris. So definitely a decent lap there, as it actually looks like Collie is on his out lap, and he is going to be the next person to set a lap time. He's currently P3 with a 26.9, but if he wants to improve his position at all, he's going to have to improve by 5/10, so it's going to need to be a pretty big improvement. But that 26.9 was his banker time on soft, so we'll have to see if he can set a time that's faster than that, and I'm sure he can, as that was only his banker time. So as he is just finishing off his out lap, trying to keep the tires nice and warm and the engine nice and cool, as he comes into the 3rd sector, and it looks like he will be starting his lap now, as still just cooling down the engine, and it doesn't actually look like he's swerving that much to actually heat up his tires, but he's now turned on the ERS, and he's exiting the final corner to start his final lap time of the session. If I'm not mistaken, there's only 4 minutes left in the session, so I don't think it's going to be enough time for another lap. So this is most likely going to be his last lap, coming into the 1st turn now. Doesn't use that much of the exit curb, but gets a pretty nice turn 1, or entry curb, sorry, but does get a pretty nice turn 1 DRS wide open coming into turn 4 now. And can he hit the apex? Yes, he can. And what kind of exit can he get? A pretty nice exit going out of turn 4 there, and into this windy S section, and taking that pretty decently, and almost making it up to 7th gear in that section. Coming out of turn 8, once again, it looks like another person who's using medium traction control, as he hammers down on the accelerator in 2nd gear, and does it once again coming out of turn 9. and we'll have to see how much he's improving by as he comes into the third sector after these two turns. That was a pretty decent turn 9, turn 10 and turn 11. He took a lot of curb on turn 10. Coming into turn 12, misses the apex there, but still gets a half decent exit. And there's just one more turn to go before he ends off this lap. So let's see what kind of lap time this is going to be from Collie, as and once again misses the apex of the last turn. And he's going to open up the DRS, and across the line is going to be a 126.6, but his teammate Sean has actually set a 126.4, so that's a very decent lap from him, and that's going to put him to P3 ahead of his teammate. So it looks like Alpine have quite a strong lineup, but let's ride on board with Chris here, who is on his out lap, or maybe we should ride on board with Lem, who's actually on a hot lap himself. You can see he is playing without traction control, as he had to use 4th gear coming out of turn 8 and into turn 9 using 3rd gear, but it actually does look like he's using medium traction control as well, so I thought there would be more people that actually had the traction control turned off. I think Chris might be the only person not playing with traction control. So Lem coming into turn 11 and now turn 12, as he comes out of the 3rd sector. He actually sets a purple sector 2, and he's 3/10 up, so it's not going to be a pole time, but he's definitely very fast in the middle sector. And as he comes up to this final turn here, what is this time going to be? And a pretty decent exit off of that last turn with the DRS wide open. It's going to be a 126.6 as he improves by 3/10, but that improves his position up to P5, just ahead of his teammate by 3/10. Oh, and he's just 4/100ths off of Collie. So if he made a tiny bit more of an improvement, he would have gotten P4. But that is how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So he is going to finish P5 in the session. But actually, no, he's not, because there's still some people who are out on lap time, including Chris, who's going to be looking to set a good lap time so he can get pole position for this weekend's race. And into this turn 10 now. What kind of turn 10 can he get? Does he hit the apex? He actually misses the apex there, but still gets a pretty decent exit as Sweeros actually retires from the session, and Chris invalidates his lap time by trying to use too much width of the track there, and that is going to be his qualifying session over unless he can set one more lap time. I'm not sure if there's enough time. There's 10 seconds left in the session. Can he get across the line in time to set one more lap time? His tires are going to be quite worn, but it actually looks like he doesn't want to set a lap anyways. And even if he wanted to, he wouldn't have been able to, because there just wasn't enough time left in the session. So both Ferraris not having the best of days. Chris invalidating his lap and Sweeros retiring from the session. And it looks like Game Freaks has abandoned his lap because either he wasn't improving by much, or he's seen that Chris has retired from the session. So he's just going to nurse these soft tires home so that he can use them in the race, as I think it's going to be a 2-stop. Maybe a 1-stop for some people, as it looks like Game Freak's teammate King David sets a 26.6, and that's going to put him P4. Near sets a 26.8. The Albrecht sets a 26.8, and it looks like the only other person still out on a lap. No, it looks like the Albrecht hasn't actually set a lap, and it looks like he's actually on his in lap. Is Oscar on a lap? No, because he has invalidated his lap time. So it looks like that is going to be it for qualifying. Game Freaks is going to start on pole, and that is a pretty decent start to his season, but he's still got to win the race for the best start to his season, as he gets pulled by almost 2/10. So that was a pretty decent lap from Game Freaks, the 26.2, definitely a fast lap, and he's going to be starting on pole position alongside Chris. So those two could be battling it out for the championship this season, as they were last season. And Level Sean is going to be starting P3 alongside King David. Collie starts P5 alongside Lem. Near starts P7 alongside Dion Albrecht. Sweeros, who couldn't get a final lap in, is going to start P9 alongside Oscar. And it looks like Zarex, who couldn't get a proper lap in, actually with a 29 flat, which is 1.7 seconds off Oscar, he is going to be starting at the very back of the grid in P11. And yeah, that is it for qualifying. And I think it's going to be a pretty exciting race. It looks like the two teams with the strong. It actually looks like there could be three teams battling it out for the Constructors' Championship. It looks like McLaren have quite a strong lineup. Ferrari have quite a strong lineup, even though Sweeraw sadly retired from the session and Chris invalidated his last lap. And also Alpine have a pretty strong lineup with Level Sean and Colin. Level Sean actually qualifying P3, so that's a great first qualifying session of the season for him. And we'll have to see if that's good things to come. As he's got King David right behind him, who's definitely a very fast driver. And we'll have to see what kind of start these guys get. But it's definitely going to be an exciting one. And could show us who's going to be battling it out for the championship. But as long as most of the drivers actually finish the session, they are going to get points in this race, apart from one person. So if one person retires, everyone will be getting points. But we'll have to see how that plays out as we get ready to go racing under the floodlights of the Bahrain circuit. And yeah, like I said, going to be an exciting one as we're just waiting for people to ready up so we can actually start the race. So pit stop wise, I think it's going to be either a one stop or a two stop. I think some people might go soft mediums in this race, or soft medium. Those are the two main strategies that you can use around this track. And the soft medium, obviously, you take one less extra pit stop, so that's an instant 24 seconds gained. But at the same time, your tires are going to be very slow at the end of both stints. So, yeah, 1 second. It looks like the lobby has actually glitched out because someone joined late there. So